This is an opportunity for me to congratulate and commend the highly commendable work of the intelligence services. Thanks to their professionalism, Burkina Faso has thwarted, yet again, attempts at destabilization. Congratulations to them. In essence, on January 3rd, 2026 at 11 p.m., an attempt to destabilize the country was planned. This was to be carried out through a series of targeted assassinations of civilian and military authorities, starting with the neutralization of Comrade Captain Ibrahim Traoré, head of state, President of Faso, either at point-blank range, or by an operation to plant explosives at his residence.
The night of January 3rd, 2026 almost passed like any other night in Burkina Faso. There were no tanks on the streets, no official announcements, no emergency podcast to warn the population. Yet, while most people were asleep, the country was standing at the edge of a very dangerous cliff. What was planned for that night was not just another rumor, not just another whisper on social media, but a carefully designed attempt to tear the heart out of the Burkinabe state. And today, with official statement from the Minister for Security, Mahamadou Sana, we finally know that those rumors were real. Before going deeper, I would like to speak honestly to you, Africa Unchained family. Many people asked why I did not report immediately when the rumors started spreading. The truth is simple. In a region where misinformation can travel faster than facts, I chose silence over speculation. I waited for proof. I waited for official confirmation. And now that Burkina Faso's Minister for Security has spoken clearly and publicly, it is my responsibility to explain what happened, why it failed, and why this moment matters not only to Burkina Faso, but to Africa as a whole. In his statement, Mahamadou Sana began by honoring the defense and security forces, the volunteers for the defense of the homeland, and ordinary patriotic citizens who remained vigilant day and night. This opening is important because it sets the tone. What happened on January 3rd was not stopped by luck. It was stopped by people who stayed alert, people who took their duties seriously, and people who understood that survival of the state depends on collective responsibility. According to the minister, the attempted coup was planned for 11 p.m. on January 3rd, 2026. This was not a symbolic operation. It was meant to create shock, fear, and immediate chaos at the highest level of leadership. After the elimination phase, the plan moved into a more technical and military stage. There was to be an operation to disable the drone base, weakening the country's surveillance and response capacity. This would then be followed by a ground intervention involving external forces. In other words, this was not an isolated internal mutiny. It was a coordinated destabilization plan with multiple layers, designed to overwhelm the state in a very short time. For reasons of security and ongoing investigation, the government has not named every actor involved. However, one central figure was clearly identified. Former Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sadago Damiba, the man who once led Burkina Faso before being removed in 2022, was described as a key planner. According to the statement, his role was to design the operation, mobilize funding, recruit both civilians and military personnel, and structure action groups with specific missions. This detail matters because it shows that the attempt relied on organization, resources, and networks built over time. Civilians were also part of the plan, not as fighters, but as mobilizers. Their role was to rally supporters after the military action, to create the image of popular backing and legitimacy. This is a classic tactic in modern coups where perception can be as powerful as weapons. The government also revealed that a significant part of the funding came from outside the country, specifically mentioning Côte d'Ivoire, with one operation involving about 70 million francs CFA. This adds a serious regional dimension to the story and explains why authorities are being careful with information. So why did this coup fail? First, intelligence services did their job. The minister was very clear in praising their professionalism. Plans of this scale require communication, money transfers, recruitment, and movement. Each of these creates traces. The intelligence services detected those traces early enough to act before the plan could be executed. Second, there was loyalty within the armed forces. The attempt depending on convincing soldiers to turn against the state. That loyalty did not materialize in the numbers needed to succeed. Third, population vigilance played a very important role. The minister emphasized that many civilians were questioned not because they were criminals, but because they were unknowingly used to carry messages or run errands. This shows that the population is deeply involved in national security, sometimes without even realizing it. When citizens are alert and engaged, it becomes more harder for sacred plots to remain sacred. Another reason for the failure was the timing. Acting at night can offer cover, but it also limits mass mobilization and rapid legitimacy. Without immediate and overwhelming control, hesitation becomes deadly for coup plotters. Finally, the current political context matters. Whatever one thinks of the leadership, there is clearly a segment of the population that sees the current direction as a fight for sovereignty. That belief translated into resistance against destabilization. The government has assured the population that the situation is under control, that arrests are ongoing, and that all those involved will face justice. They have also promised transparency through confession videos while urging citizens to remain calm and vigilant. This is not a call for fear, but a call for awareness. For Africa Unchained, this story is not about creating division or hate. It is about understanding power, responsibility, and the price of instability. Burkina Faso survived this night not because it was invincible, but because people chose vigilance over indifference. If you want honest, careful, and deeply African-centered analysis like this, subscribe to Africa Unchained. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss updates from across the continent. Our stories are complex, our struggles are real, and our future depends on staying informed.